Welcome back to another heartwarming adventure in the kitchen. Today, I have something that will not only fill your home with delicious aromas but also bring comfort and joy to everyone around you. Yes, today we're going to make cheesy mashed potatoes, a dish so rich and creamy, it feels like the ultimate comfort food, and one that everyone will love. The beauty of cheesy mashed potatoes is that they can be the star of the show at your dinner table or the perfect side dish to elevate any meal. Let's get started by gathering everything we'll need for this dish. We're using 4 pounds of russet potatoes. These potatoes are perfect for mashing because they're starchy and fluffy, creating the ideal texture. But just in case you're wondering, can you use other potatoes? Of course. You could go for Yukon Golds, which are a bit creamier, or even red potatoes, which can give a more textured mash. But russets are the classic choice, and they're what we'll use today. Now, as we look at these potatoes, we can't help but appreciate their simplicity. These humble spuds are incredibly versatile and are the foundation of so many comfort foods, from mashed potatoes to baked potatoes and fries. Isn't it amazing how something so basic can be turned into something so special? It's a little like life. Simple ingredients combined thoughtfully can create something magical. Let's begin by peeling our potatoes. This can actually be a very peaceful task, especially when you're in the right mindset. Think of it as a moment to reset, to focus on the beauty of preparing food. Once peeled, cut them into chunks. Each chunk should be about the size of a golf ball to ensure even cooking. The consistency of the mash will depend on the evenness of your potato pieces, so this step is important. Here's a pro tip. As you peel and cut the potatoes, place them into a bowl of cold water. This prevents oxidation and keeps them from turning brown. It's a small step, but it makes a difference when you're preparing ingredients in advance. Plus, it keeps the potatoes fresh and ready for the next step. Once you've finished cutting the potatoes, it's time to cook them. Transfer them to a large pot. I recommend using a heavy-bottomed pot because it will help prevent the potatoes from sticking to the bottom and burning. Cover the potatoes with cold water, which is actually the secret to cooking them evenly. Starting with cold water allows the potatoes to cook uniformly and results in the perfect mash texture. At this point, we'll add a generous pinch of salt to the water. This seasoning step ensures that the potatoes absorb some flavor as they cook, rather than just being bland and needing to be overseasoned later. It's a subtle yet powerful step in the process. Now, bring the water to a boil over medium-high heat. Once it's boiling, reduce the heat to a simmer and let the potatoes cook for about 15 to 20 minutes, or until they're fork tender. To check, simply pierce a piece with a fork. If it slides in easily, you're ready to move to the next step. While the potatoes are cooking, let's prepare the cheesy, creamy goodness that's going to take this dish to the next level. In a separate bowl, combine half a cup of softened unsalted butter, a cup of warmed half and half, and a cup of sour cream. Warming the half and half beforehand is key because it helps the butter melt smoothly. This step may seem minor, but it ensures that the ingredients blend seamlessly for a luscious, velvety texture. The sour cream adds a tangy creaminess that will balance out the richness of the butter and cheese. Don't skimp on this part. It's the secret to creating mashed potatoes that have a bit of depth and complexity to them. You can even use Greek yogurt for a tangier twist if you prefer. Now let's not forget the cheeses, sharp cheddar and Parmesan. For this recipe, I highly recommend grating the cheese yourself. I know it's tempting to grab pre-shredded cheese from the store, but there's something magical about freshly grated cheese that melts beautifully into the potatoes, creating a luxurious texture. You'll want to have about 2 cups of grated cheddar and half a cup of grated Parmesan. The cheddar gives that sharp, tangy flavor we all love, while the Parmesan contributes a subtle nuttiness. The combination of these cheeses will add a depth of flavor that makes these mashed potatoes absolutely irresistible. As the potatoes are cooking, I want you to think about how special this moment is. You're creating something simple, but when you sit down to enjoy these cheesy mashed potatoes, you'll be amazed at how much love and care has gone into each step. The meal is more than just food. It's about the warmth and connection it brings when you share it with others. Once your potatoes are tender and ready, it's time to drain them. Carefully drain the water, making sure all the moisture is removed. If you want, you can return the potatoes to the warm pot for a minute. This allows the steam to escape and helps the potatoes stay nice and fluffy. No one likes soggy mashed potatoes. Now comes the fun part, mashing. You can mash the potatoes with a classic potato masher, but if you want a super smooth, velvety mash, use a potato ricer. It's a small tool, but it does wonders for creating that luxurious texture. Take your time and mash the potatoes slowly, so you have full control over the consistency. There's no need to rush this step. It's the foundation of the perfect mashed potato. Once the potatoes are mashed to your liking, it's time to add in the creamy, cheesy goodness. Slowly pour in the butter, half and sour cream mixture, stirring gently as you go. You'll notice the potatoes absorb the liquid beautifully, creating a silky smooth texture that's to die for. Take your time and make sure everything is fully incorporated. Next, we fold in the grated cheeses. Add the cheddar and Parmesan, letting the warmth of the mashed potatoes melt the cheese into the creamy mixture. Stir gently until the cheese is fully melted and the mash is wonderfully cheesy and smooth. This is where the magic happens. Those melt in your mouth, cheesy layers that make this dish so special. Now it's time to season. Add salt and freshly ground black pepper to taste. Keep tasting as you go to ensure that everything is perfectly balanced. If you like a little extra zing, feel free to add a pinch of garlic powder or even a dash of cayenne pepper for a bit of heat. These little additions can make a huge difference in the flavor profile. Once seasoned, the mashed potatoes are ready to be baked. Spoon the mash into a buttered baking dish and smooth it out with a spatula. You want an even layer, so every bite will be the same. Now take the remaining cheddar cheese and sprinkle it over the top. Time to bake. Pop the dish into a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit and bake for 20 to 25 minutes, or until the top is golden brown and bubbling. The smell that will fill your kitchen is beyond comforting. It's like a warm hug for your senses. As the cheesy mashed potatoes bake, you'll see the cheese melt and form a golden, crispy layer on top. It's the perfect combination of creamy and crunchy that you won't be able to resist. When it comes out of the oven, you'll be greeted by a glorious sight. The top is golden brown and bubbly, and underneath, the potatoes are rich, creamy, and absolutely irresistible. The contrast of the crispy cheese crust with the creamy potatoes inside is what makes this dish so perfect. But why stop there? If you want to take this dish to the next level, try adding some crispy bacon bits, caramelized onions, or sautéed mushrooms to the mashed potatoes. These little additions can really elevate the flavor and texture, adding even more richness to the dish. And don't forget, you can experiment with different cheeses too. Try Gouda, Gruyere, or even a little bit of blue cheese for a more complex, bold flavor. Cheesy mashed potatoes are the ultimate side dish for any meal. They're perfect with roasted chicken, beef, or even a perfectly seared steak. Their richness can complement almost any main course, and they're rich enough to stand alone as a satisfying dish. You could also serve them with grilled vegetables for a balanced and comforting meal. And the best part, leftovers make an incredible topping for shepherd's pie or a savory breakfast hash. The versatility of cheesy mashed potatoes is truly remarkable. As we wrap up this recipe, I want you to reflect on how food brings us together. This dish, with its creamy, cheesy goodness, isn't just about the flavors. It's about the memories you'll create with those you share it with, the joy that comes from cooking something from the heart, and the love that goes into each step. Thank you for joining me today on this cheesy mashed potato adventure. If you've enjoyed this recipe, please like, comment, and subscribe for more fun food stories. Until next time, keep cooking, keep experimenting, and remember, food is the language of love.